Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to cover the Power Willbender, which is in my opinion a very strong option for DPS in World vs World, because it has some really interesting traits and mechanics which contributes to reduce the cooldown of every weapon skill and also some nice damage in the utility skills, while also having lots of sustain and vulnerabilities and blocks and also a lot of mobility. Before getting into the build and the gears, I want to explain how the virtues work on the Willbender, because they are so different from other Guardian specializations. You have your F1, your F2 and your F3. Once you press them, you will receive a boon, a unique boon on your boon bars. In this case you have Justice, as you can see, for 6 seconds in the F1. Consecutive attacks cause burning. On the F2 you have Flowing Resolve for 8 seconds, because I have a trait which extends the duration. Consecutive attacks grant regenerative effects, I will cover this in a bit. And the F3 will grant us Crushing Courage. Consecutive attacks grant boons. So let's get into it. Let's start from the F1. This will perform a dash in front, which will leave some flames in front of you, and these flames will pulse on the ground and do damage. And for 6 seconds you will have Justice, which means you have this boon here, and every 5 attacks, because of the description you can read here, number of attacks to trigger, every 5 attacks you will perform a burn on the enemies. So this is how the Virtues F1 works. The F2 is your healing virtue. It will perform a small dash in front and then grant you this boon here, and every 5 attacks while this boon is active will heal you. They will only heal yourself, not your allies. If you want to heal the allies, you need a specific trait which I don't run in this build. So for now this is all. The F3 is a shadow step. You press it and you teleport at the destination, and also you deal a decent amount of damage, as you can see. And after this you will receive a boon for 6 seconds, Crushing Courage, and every 5 attacks you will get Aegis on you and also Stability for 4 seconds, 1 stack of each. Let's try it, you see, here, and now every 5 attack I get Stability. You see how much Stability, because every hit count towards this goal here. Number of attacks to trigger 5, but if a single hit hits 5 targets, you will instantly get 1 stack of this. So this is very strong to know. Now let's get into the build. I want to start from the Willbender trait line because of how the virtues work. So we run Power for Power because it grants us additional power, and also Willbender Flames deal increased damage to foes they strike. Willbender Flames are the flames you can see in the ground after you do your F1, your F2 and your F3. These AoEs will do 100% more damage, which is nice. Then here we have Swiftness when we activate a virtue, which is not bad. Basically we are full Swiftness most of the time, permanent Swiftness. Then here is the most important trait of the Willbender and which makes this build work. Triggered virtue effects reduce the cooldown of active weapon abilities, gain vigor when activating Flowing Resolve. Okay, the vigor is not that important, but still the other part is very important. Basically, whenever you use your F1, your F2 and your F3, you will get the corresponding boon, which is Justice, Flowing Resolve and Crushing Courage. Then, while you have these active, even one of them, or even all 3 of them, or 2, each time one of these gets triggered, you will have your weapons skills reduced by 1/4 of seconds. This might seem not a lot, but in a big fight, when you hit 5 enemies with every spell, with every hit, just this, it can hit 5 targets 7 times, so it's like 35 hits. You get a lot of reduction, and I will show you. Also, they stack, the virtues stack. You can have all of them active, and you will, every hit, if you have all of them active, will reduce the cooldown by 3/4 of seconds per 5 hits each time the virtues trigger. So let's stop the talking and let's show you. 1, 2 and 3. See the skill 4 and now skill 2. See how much it reduces. It's fucking crazy in my opinion. It's so OP. Keep in mind that you have to have your virtues activated, like you have to have these boons right here. Now let's do it again. You see? It's very crazy in my opinion. The best trait of the Willbender by far. Then the other trait, here you can choose Phoenix Protocol, gain alacrity and regeneration when resolves effect triggers. So you have your F2 activated, you have flowing resolve. Whenever you trigger it with 5 hits to enemies, you will also get alacrity and regeneration, but you no longer heal yourself. So in addition to the previous effect, by restorative virtues, you will also get Phoenix Protocol, meaning that you will get alacrity and regeneration. And also, whenever you press your F2, even if you don't trigger it with any hit, you will get some alacrity on you. So alacrity is a very nice boon, which helps us resetting our cooldown faster. If you want a more bursty option, you can go for Tyrant's Momentum, which boosts our lethal tempo. So basically, lethal tempo is a minor trait. Each time you activate a virtue or your virtue's passives are triggered, gain a damage bonus. Gaining stacks of this bonus refreshes other stacks, meaning that basically this is 15% more damage, because you will have 5 stacks of this all the time in the fights. With this trait, Tyrant's Momentum, instead of 15% damage, you will have 25% damage, so it's 10% more damage, but you will have to drop the alacrity and regeneration on yourself. The alacrity is very important. In my opinion, you should go Phoenix Protocol, but it's up to you. Also, some builds can run the alacrity share. Instead of running Radiance, some builds run Virtues, and with this trait, Battle Presence, nearby allies gain the passive effect of Virtue Skill 2, and Willbender heals allies when you resolve effect triggers. You will no longer heal them, but with this trait you will grant regeneration to your allies and also alacrity to your allies. I wouldn't recommend doing this build unless you are in a specific guild run or organized raid. I would go for Radiance, which is full damage, and I think it's very worth it, but this is an option which can really work. Maybe I can cover it in the future too. The other two trait lines are Zeal and Radiance. On Zeal, we run Wrathful Spirit. Aegis grants boons when it ends. This only works on the Aegis we applied, so not from the Aegis we receive. So this is very nice because we get a lot of Aegis with the F3, but still this is limited. In a big fight you will not have all the time the F3 active. So maybe you can also go Zealous Scepter, which grants us might each time our Virtue Skill 1 passive triggers. So every 5 attacks we get some might, and also if you are running the Scepter, which we are, we get 2 stacks of might instead of 1. Here we have Zealous Blade, more power and also additional power when we run a Greatsword, and also Greatsword skills have reduced recharge, so this is one of the best traits here because we run Greatsword and it's a very important part of our damage. And then here, Symbolic Avenger, your strike damage is increased whenever your symbols hit Hafu. So basically 10% more damage for free all the time. On Radiance, we run Right Hand Strength for some additional precision and also additional power when we run a one-handed weapon. If you find yourself not having a lot of resolution, you can also run a Healer's Resolution. Why do we need the resolution? Because we have this trait, which is 10% damage increase when we have resolution, and also Righteous Instincts resolution increases your chances to critically strike and grants might each interval. So resolution is very mandatory in this build because we need the 25% critical chance increase to reach the critical cap and do the maximum damage possible. So always aim to have the maximum resolution in your boon bars. I want to mention this very important minor trait. Virtue Skill 1 is renewed when you kill a foe. You will kill a lot of enemies in War vs World, of course, so this will reset a lot. and we will get the justice effect, and also it will be a virtue effect triggered, and we will trigger the restorative virtues, so our cooldowns will go faster and we will do more damage in the long fights. So this is how it works. You press it, you have it on cooldown, you kill an enemy, F1 ready again, you can press it again and you have justice again, and it can trigger the restorative virtues. For the utility and the heal skill and the elite skill, we run heal skill, shelter. It's a channeled block which can save yourself a lot of the time, because you will block so many attacks while you are in a Zerg fight. You are almost invulnerable. I say almost because some attacks from Berserkers and Reaper are unblockable, but still it's very nice. Then we run stand your ground, stability and resolution, and also one break stun, and also helps the party with the stability, very nice skill. Then we run whirling light, which is a whirling attack which does a lot of damage and also several hits, like 4 hits per target, and it helps a lot to trigger the restorative virtues once we don't have any skill ready in our weapons set. I recommend using the whirling light after we have everything on cooldown in the weapon sets, because the restorative virtues will only reduce the cooldown of the weapons skills, not of the other skills. So if you can, try to save your whirling light for when you are everything on cooldown on the weapons. Try to see it, how it works. We have cooldowns here. You press this, you see how much it resets. It's so strong. As the last utility skill, you can run Sword of Justice for additional cooldown reduction and also a lot of damage in a AoE. It's ranged, you cast it and it will attack for you. It's unkillable, it cannot be killed. It will just do damage where you cast it, and it will trigger your virtues, of course, if you have them active. As the elite skill, we should run Renewed Focus because the others are kinda bad, and also this is a very strong option because it makes us invulnerable for 3 seconds, and also it will reset every virtues we have, all the stacks of them. You press it, you are invulnerable, you are inside the enemy Zerg, you have nothing left, you have now virtues already, you can press them, you have the enemies here, you start pressing your attacks, and everything resets. It's so strong. I will do a commentary in the later part of this video, on which I will show you how it works in Zerg fights. Let's take a look at the weapons skill. Let's start from the scepter. The skill 2 is your most important skill on the scepter. You press it, it's a symbol, very easy and straightforward, very good to trigger your virtues effect. Let's see how it works a bit. You press your 2. Then you have whirling light, you are almost ready again on the scepter 2. It's so good, it almost feels cheating. But still, in a real fight, you will not be able to press your F1, F2, F3. You have to do the burst damage when you can. But still, ideally, it's very strong. On the torch, we have the skill 4, which if you once press it, you will have this pulsing AoE around you, which helps us trigger the virtues. So I would recommend not pressing it again, because you will throw this AoE and also it will be a projectile and it can be reflected. While this passive effect, if you press it once, is unblockable, and so you will hit everyone. The skill 5 performs 10 hits in front of you on 3 targets, so it's a very huge tool to trigger the restorative virtues and to trigger your virtues, of course. The Greysword is run mostly for the skill 2, which is a very fast spinning AoE around you, which deals a lot of damage, and also the cooldown is very low. So it's very nice to trigger our virtues and to do damage once you are melee, and you will be melee a lot with your virtues. You are not considered a ranged DPS class, so please use the Greysword. The second best skill in the Greysword is the skill 4, which is another symbol, similar to the skill 2 from the scepter, but this one will do more damage and also apply resolution to yourself and also to allies on the symbols, which is very needed for Righteous Instinct and Retribution. So resolution, very good. The skill tree is another very big damage skill, but it's a bit slow. As you can see, it performs a leap which can easily be dodged or blinded or whatever else, or the enemies could just go away from it. So most of the time I use it to engage if I am far behind, or if I need to reset the fight, like I'm almost dead inside the enemies, you remove the target from them, otherwise you perform the skill tree on them and you press skill 3 and you are out of the fight. And you can also run away with the F2 and the F3 and the F1 again. You have a lot of mobility to save yourself and also to initiate the fight. But I wouldn't recommend initiating the fight, let the commander do it, because if you use your virtues in a 50-man Zerg, you will die instantly. Let's take a quick look at the gears. Please keep in mind that you don't need a lot of precision in this build, because we have this trait right here, which combined with Fury will grant us 45 critical chance increase if we have Fury and Resolution. So always aim to have a lot of Resolution and hope your supports will give you a lot of Fury. So the gears are: everything is on Marauder on the armors with the Superior's Rune of Scholar, which is the best option for rune for damage. Then on the Scepter we run Bloodlust and Marauder, and on the Torch we run Frenzy for additional cooldown reductions and still Marauder stats. On the Greatsword it's still Marauder stats, and we run Superior Sigil of Force for the damage and also Superior Sigil of Rage. This sigil could seem a bit of a meme, but you will find yourself being too slow sometimes when you have to perform your skill 2 from the Greatsword or your Whirling Light. It's your utility skill. They are two of your best skills. They do a lot of burst damage and they help you a lot, reducing the cooldowns of other weapon skills with this trait, because they perform a lot of hits around you and they are very hard to miss. So I find myself being too slow casting these two skills and I want the quickness. So what I do is this. Let's say that this Warg is the enemy Zerg. You are in a ranged situation, of course, the fight is about to start and you will drop everything ranged you have. What I will do is casting this symbol, and the symbol will hit no matter the weapon set I use. So I drop my skill 2, I swap to Greatsword, I do a critical hit and the Superior Sigil of Rage procs, I get quickness and I do a skill 2 super fast. So the burst damage is insane, just lower than a second cast skill, you will do so big damage with the skill 2 and also with the Whirling Light. Let me do this again. This sigil has a bit of cooldown, 20 seconds, so it's not the best option maybe, but still I find myself needing this quickness more than some any other thingy. Skill 2 and then Whirling Light 2. You see, I dealt like 20k damage total or so. On the backpack I run Valkyrie, on the accessories I run Valkyrie on both of them. Then on the rings I run Marauder, and on the amulet I run Marauder again. The relic is the Relic of the Warrior. Weapon swap recharge time is reduced by 25%. This is very needed because we will cast all the skills all the time and we will have everything on cooldown, and we will need the most amount of symbols because we will have them reset by these skills, the restorative virtues. So you cast your symbol, you swap weapon, then you press everything else and you will have cooldown reduction on the other weapon sets too, and then when you swap back to it you will have everything ready. So having a lower cooldown on the weapon swap is very huge in my opinion. Otherwise you can run the Relic of Speed, which grants us movement speed while we have swiftness. It's very nice to catch up on the enemies and to your commander, and so you don't let them run, you are faster in melee and you will not stay behind ever. Now I want to do a commentary of several clips I filmed for you, on which I explain how it works and also to showcase a bit how strong the class is. Please keep in mind that many times in these clips I didn't even have a firebrand sometimes, and also I am not the best Willbender in the world because I didn't play this class a lot, but I think I figured out the mechanics pretty well and I think it has a lot of potential on paper. In real fights is a bit worse in my opinion, but still it can perform hugely well. Let's take a look to it. So here I press my virtues. I have all the virtues ready here, actually only 2 of them. Okay, I cast my skill 2, which is the scepter 2, the symbol on the ground, and then the Sword of Justice. You see how fast the symbol 2 is recharging with the trait. It's crazy, it feels like cheating, but it's not. Okay, I have my skill 2 ready again from the scepter in just a few seconds. Then we are about to clash here. The veil is on the ground. I cast my virtues for the cooldown reductions. I swap to greatsword, whirling light, skill 4 and skill 2. My virtues are on cooldown. I pressed my F3. Sword of Justice. You see how fast the cooldowns are going from the greatsword. It's so crazy. You see here, from 2 seconds to 0 in 1 millisecond. And then my skill 4 is ready again, skill 2, F2, 2 again. You see, of course, I've been out DPS'd, sorry, because these 2 classes are OP right now, especially the Berserker, but it got nerfed a bit, and also the Vindicator. But I think in the proper hands, the Willbender has a huge potential. Of course, it also depends on the fight. This class will shine only in melee, because in ranged, just go for the Core Guardian. This is another very good fight to showcase how strong the cooldown reduction is on the Willbender. This was a lost fight, but still it will show you how it works. So, let's see it. Okay, I use my virtues, skill 2. Then I cancelled my whirling light because I was dying. Then we are resetting the fight here. We are in a bad spot. I use my F3 to go back, and also it triggers the effect. So now every 5 hits I will trigger the cooldown reduction. So F3, you see a lot of damage. Sword of Justice, F2 behind, and then you see how my skill 4 is resetting fast here with the alacrity and the cooldown reduction trait. Very fast. I have my skill 4 ready. I use it again. I use my virtue, then my F1, F2 again, and the skill 4 is ready again. This is not normal. This feels like cheating for real. The fight was lost, but still I was very happy for the performance of this class. And I'm also looking forward into it because I really enjoy this class, and playing this class you need to be very ready to play it and to press the skills once they come up again. They come up so fast compared to other classes, so you need to be ready. This is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoy it, and also let me know in the comments your thoughts. How can I improve? And I accept every criticism. And also tell me if you already tried the Willbender. I know it's not a new class, but I started playing it lately and I'm still testing it, and I'm looking forward to it because I think it has a lot of potential, and once I learn it properly, I think it will be a very strong class to play. Also, I see a lot of Willbenders performing very well in the Zerg fights, and I kinda want to reach them and to even be better than them, if possible. Thank you for watching again, and see you on to the next video. Bye, and have a great time.